creating variables and functions in the global scope is a big no-no in the JavaScript world. And there's good reason for that, because it actually breaks our applications in many cases. So let me demonstrate to you why there's a big no-no for that and how we can prevent that. So first, let me demonstrate to you this example, and let me just add an event handler over here where when click happens over here, this merge function runs. So document.add event listener, click event when happens, the merge function, which is mentioned over here, gets called with two values. So now I'm going to save, refresh, and when I click over here, something here gets printed. Pretty fine and dandy, right? So now, let's say in a real world application where when you're building an app, let's say you need multiple libraries. Let's say you have an app.js file, you have library A, you have library B, and you have different JavaScript files to assist you to build your app. So I'm going to simply actually just import, let's say, library b.js over here. And over here in our project files, I'm going to actually create library B, which I've already created. And it also has a merge function, but this merge function is different than the library A merge function. This merge function in library A just alerts the two values, but let's say this one in library B simply spits out the two functions. So sorry, two values. So it just simply gets the values and returns it. So now imagine this scenario. Library A and library B is created by two separate authors. They don't know each other. They're just creating their apps or libraries, and they're just providing different features that they intend to create. But let's say you as a developer need both of those features. Maybe you need library A for some photo interactions. Maybe you need library B for some, click event handling or whatever, some menus, whatever, right? You need different libraries for different purposes. So they have a function. They both are using the function with the name of merge. Now let's say if you import both of these libraries, and now I'm going to refresh. I'll make sure I saved it. Save, and now refresh. Now when I click, my click is not working. My feature is not working. What happened? I simply imported this particular library and that just broke it, right? So let's say if I remove it, comment this out, refresh, and now when I click, my feature is back. But this library B is breaking library A. And the reason for that is that now, let's say if I import both of them, save, refresh, now when I go to window.merge, you see the merge function is the library B merge function. This one is the return one. Oops, I clicked on it. Sorry, going back to the console. This is the merge function of library B. So when this click event handler runs, it says, okay, I need to run this merge function. It goes to the global scope, and this global scope, all of these are attached to the same global scope, and library B is also in the same global scope because both of them got loaded. So library B, all the functions which had the same name, overwrote the functions in library B. That's why it broke it. So that's why attaching these functions to the global scope or values or variables to the global scope is a big no-no. So this is just one scenario. Another scenario could be that let's say you have these different extensions in your browser, whether it be Chrome, Firefox. They also could interact and interface with your libraries, and they could have certain variables that would break your app, or you could actually break their app as well, not knowingly actually. So the fix to that is actually something you can do is actually you can come in over here, and let's say you're the author of library A. All right, so what you can do is actually create a function, right, and put everything inside this function. All right, so I'm going to do this, save, and I'm just going to call that init. All right, and I can simply, oops, what did I do? Wrong syntax over here. Perfect. And now I can simply run this function like such. So now when I come over here, refresh, I can no longer access values of v with window.v or v like such. It's not going to work because from our scope cheat sheet, if I look for that, if I just zoom out and look for scope, all right, here's the scope cheat sheet. And you know that any function or values or variables inside a particular function does not leak outside, all right? So scope is the limit in which a variable exists. So when you actually write all of your code inside this init function, it does not leak out, right? It's not accessible in the global scope. So when you write it like such, you write it inside a function, and then you immediately run the function. Now the application is going to run as expected. All right, everything's going to run as expected, but those variables are not leaked outside, and hence they will not have conflict with other libraries, variables, and extensions and such. So that's pretty much it for this video. I'm going to talk to you in the next, where I'm going to show you a very important concept in the JavaScript world called immediately invoked function expressions, which is the same concept, but a fancy word. It's just a fancy word. It's not really difficult. So I'm going to talk to you in the next lesson.